Thanks for clicking on Wayne.com for this week's edition of Inside the Zone. As always, Blake Sebring joining us to talk some Komets hockey. And Blake, a little bit of an up and down week for the Komets. Some good performances, some not so great performances, but overall, they take 4 points in 3 games. What's your takeaway from this past week from what we saw from the Komets?
Well, this team is kind of still evolving yet. And I'll say this because they think they can outscore everybody. They are the highest scoring team in the league, but I think the Friday night they kind of learned a little bit. You can't outscore Kalamazoo. At least they have their number this year, 21 goals in 3 games. Some teams you're going to have to go in with a game plan of thinking you're going to win 3-2, not 7-2. And they're kind of adjusting to that.
Well, that's one of the topics I wanted to touch on. 169 goals in 42 games. That's just over 4 goals a game, leading the ECHL. How have they been able to be so effective and efficient offensively?
Talent is one thing. Speed. They have depth. They have more depth right now than most teams. I mean, they can get goals off the third line, or a lot of teams just use that line as a checking line, and so that creates problems for the opposing defense. Who do you match up with? How do you match up with the Komets? Now, the only way that's a problem, and it's only if you don't play defense, because how many other teams in the league would love to be able to score 4 goals a game? I mean, and count on it like they have been able to. But they got to watch the defensive end. But maybe the other team's got to work on both ends to try to get that. Their power play has been pretty decent lately. So they can play defense. We know that. And it's just depending on when they want to put it all together.
Let's talk about some of the individual performances we've seen so far this season. I think one guy that goes under the radar, doesn't get talked a lot about, is Ryan Culkin on that defense. Yeah. Because you're talking about a guy, he's one of 2 guys that have played in all 42 games for the Komets this year. That's always nice to have, especially.
Who's the other guy? Who's the other guy?
I have it written down. No, I didn't have it written down.
Curtis Leonard. Curtis Leonard.
Yes. So 2 defensemen. I mean, that's pretty good.
They are 2 of the silent 6. Because you don't really notice defensemen unless they mess up.
That's true.
And they've been unbelievable back there.
So he leads the Fort Wayne defenseman and is 6th in ECHL defenseman with 29 points. We're talking 9 goals and 20 assists. Not too shabby.
No.
What is it about Culkin, and why does he fly under the radar? Just being a defenseman, or just?
No, I think it's partly he's so sneaky. I mean, how many times have you seen him get the goal because he's the trailer? I mean, he's the last guy into the zone, or the 4th guy into the zone, and they just kind of flip it back to him because they know he's there, and he tees off on it, and it's good. I mean, he's really sneaky that way. I think part of it is he's bigger and rangier than most defensemen, and he can skate too. So he's kind of got those 3 tools all together, which you don't see a lot at this level. So that's part of that.
One other guy that's really been good when he's been here, and he's been here less likely than Komets fans would like, Marco Waugh. We're talking about in 20 games, the guy's got 26 points. So 5 power play goals, which leads the team. And again, he's only played in 20 games. What makes him so effective specifically on the power play?
Well, one thing we talked about last week is he has a backhand. And you just don't see that anymore. It's kind of a lost art. But he's also very smart. And he kind of reminds me of Shafronov a little bit. Shaffy, he wasn't the fastest guy, but Marco can skate. I mean, but it's like he knows where to show up when. I mean, it's timing. He's got that knack for being around the goal in the right time.
You mentioned Shafronov. That leads me into Tanulin, because Tanulin had 3 goals this week, a goal in every game this past week, I should say. What player does he remind you of when he's playing here with the Komets? I mean, is there a blueprint of a guy? Is there a comparison? Is there a similarity?
He kind of, and this is a topical thing, he kind of reminds me of Mbach a little bit.
Okay.
He's smaller, but he's kind of gritty. He doesn't mind banging a little bit, which is good because opponents are going to target him, thinking, oh, there's a little guy, I can rub him into the boards. But he's also, he's quick, he's fast on his feet, he's elusive, and he just fires the puck.
I wondered if you were going to say Pachendolov.
Yeah, but Artie's a lot better player than Pachendolov.
Physically,
physically,
guys.
But mentally, he's a lot better player than Pachendolov. He actually plays defense. He actually plays the spot he's supposed to play. He actually back checks. Artie didn't do any of that.
He did score, and he was fast.
He was fast.
You could definitely tell that.
And he was Russian.
That's true. I mean, there were a lot of comparisons. That's why I was wondering who was the guy that you were going
Artie's a much better player.
When you take a look at goaltending, we were talking before the show. You mentioned some numbers on Bartas. Go through those numbers again and just exactly what he's kind of meant to this team. Specifically, it seems like coming off losses.
Sure. He's 14-2 in his Komets career, which is basically 2 seasons and a part of a third after a loss, which is pretty remarkable because of a couple things. He's playing on the road a lot of those games. You know, I mean, and like Friday they got blown out. I mean, they gave up 7, okay? And then Saturday they come into Cincinnati, they gave up the first 7 shots of the game and they're down 1-0. And he pulls them out of it, essentially, and keeps them in the game until they can get the offense going, and then they come back and win. I mean, he's faced a lot of those types of situations. Now, part of that is they don't lose very often for losing streaks. The most games they've ever lost in a row under Gary is 3 games, which any team in the whole ECHL, with the exception of Toledo, would take that in a heartbeat. Right. Our fans aren't satisfied with that, but everybody else will be like, oh, please, please, we'll take it. You know. But our fans are so spoiled in some ways, you know. But so he gets the benefit of that. In that, when they lose a game like that, they usually come back harder the next night, harder and smarter, okay? But part of that is they want to play for Garrett, too. I mean, they just don't lose many games. But he has a way of keeping them in the game until they can get it going. Like, they should have been down, oh, gosh, it should have been 3-0 probably Friday night in the first period. They got shot 12-6, and they were getting really good shots. And he just kept them in it until they got it going.
Well, you touched on it a little while ago. Mike Embach, you mentioned his name. He's now signed with the Toledo Walleye. What does that mean, and are you surprised that he ends up in Toledo?
I'm really
what's it going to be like when you see Embach was a fan favorite. He'd been here for quite a while. What's it going to be like when he comes into Fort Wayne?
Oh, we don't know. We don't know.
Well, that's because they don't play forever.
Right, because the lovely ECHL schedule makers, Toledo doesn't come back here until possibly the playoffs.
That's unbelievable to me. We could do a whole show on that. And the All-Star game.
I've done whole articles on that, yes.
That and the All-Star game are constant flies in the ointment.
How can you not play Kalamazoo till just after Christmas, you know?
Well, I don't mind dodging it when Joel Martin's playing like a maniac, but, you know.
But you know what I mean? I mean, you know, Indianapolis, you hardly played before Christmas either, you know. It's just like, all right, anyway. And how do you only play Kalamazoo 6 times? And how do you only play Toledo 6 times, you know? You've just got to play at least 10 times against those 2 teams.
You would think you'd want to build those regional rivalries a little bit more. You don't want to overdo it, but you also don't want to underdo it. I mean, there has to be a sweet spot in
really,
there
and those Toledo games are the best games you get to see all year, the most competitive, the most entertaining,
and it's not like everybody has a crazy travel budget, you know? I mean, those games are 2 hours,
Right.
2 hours one way, 2 hours the other way, so... What? Okay, we got off topic.
I hate talking about that.
Mike Embach. Mike Embach.
Okay, he wasn't happy in Scotland. There were some things going on there he didn't care for, so he decided to come home.
The kilts. He doesn't like to play in a kilt.
Well, there you go. It's kind of hard when you go down to block a shot. You know, if you miss,
then
you're in trouble.
There's not a lot of protection. There's a lot of skin in there on that ice.
Especially when it flips up. But anyway.
I was going to work a high
But anyway,
joke in there,
obviously he's best friends with Pat Nagel. You know, they've roomed together for every year and a day. And then, Simone Denis. And Toledo had a veteran spot open. So why wouldn't you want to go there? It's close to home, so mom can come see him play and all that, too. When you come back from overseas and you're a veteran, you don't have a lot of options. So, I mean, there just isn't many. You know, you're not even allowed to sign 5 veterans and dress 4. You're only allowed to sign 5, period. You know, even if somebody's on IR forever, you're only allowed to have 4 signed, period. So that was kind of his options.
How do the guys that have played with him, like Sid and those guys, how are they going to view him across the ice?
It'll be great. Because, it's funny, I was thinking about this today. So when the Komets play Toledo, it's going to be personal for Mike and it's going to be personal for Pat. Well, you know what? It's also personal for Michael Hauser and it's personal for Marc-Olivier Waugh. It's like it's personal anyway. You know,
it was personal for Mike when they played Cincinnati way back in the day.
Right. And how much did it kill him not to play yesterday against Cincinnati? You know, it's like you can't give. Those guys don't need any more motivation. But if you're going to play them in the playoffs, nobody needs any more motivation, so it's irrelevant, you know?
This is true. As far as this week goes, you've got game Friday at home against Rapid City, which It seems like a long time ago, but man, that used to be
fun.
Used to be really fun. And then Saturday at Wheeling. So
which really has kind of, and if you think about it, has replaced Rapid City as a decent little rivalry.
That's true.
Because Garrett Muirs and those guys and Danny Milan and you know, those guys are good teams, and it's a good team. I mean, it's a competitive game.
Yeah, year in and year out, they are good.
Right. I mean, they match up really well. It's a fun game to watch.
So looking forward to this week, what are some of the things that you're looking to? Because Justin Hodgman, we talked to him, I think, 2 weeks ago at practice. He said we talked to him the first day that he'd been clear for full contact. He said, I'm aiming for early February as far as getting into games. He had to get his there's no way to get your legs truly under you until you play a game, especially when you've sat out as long as he has.
It's kind of like running a marathon. You can train and train and train, but until you actually do it, you don't know what it's like. That kind of thing. I mean, it takes more than you knew you had to give type of thing.
So do you expect Haji this week? I know you said you're going to talk to him at practice tomorrow. I mean, what's your feeling on
I would
where
hope
they're
so
at
for
going
his
forward?
sake. He's got to be going nuts.
Well, and what are some of the complications of him coming back? Because the lines have been steady and worked the way. Obviously, they worked. They're leading the league in goals.
Yeah.
But they've worked. They've had chemistry on each line, and not only do you have to work him in there, but you have to work him in salary cap wise.
Right. Yeah, that's going to be the tricky thing. Is how do you work him in salary cap wise? I don't know exactly what Haji makes, but you got to think he's one of the higher paid players on the team. Taylor Crunk has also got to be getting real close too. You know, he's probably itching to play too. So there's two guys that you're going to try to figure out where to put him back in the lineup. Well, then there's two guys that got to come off, and maybe a third to get Haji under the salary cap. That you got to make some moves. You got to figure it out. You got to, you know, maybe somebody got hurt this weekend too and goes on IR. I don't know. You know, I mean, we'll find out tomorrow. How do you make it all work puzzle-wise and financially, and then, like you said, on the lines? Now, the great thing about it is you couldn't make any trade in the league this year. You couldn't get a send-down player from the AHL who's going to have the same value as Haji, what he can give you at 6'2". He's got to be one of the bigger centers in the league. He's got to be one of the better skaters in the league. He's got the skill. He's got the shot. He's a veteran. He's got the brains.
And when he's been here, he has pestered the crap out of people in the playoffs.
Yes. But he's an all-around player that you just can't go out and find right now. I mean, you know, and I'm not trying to denigrate Mike at all, but if you got to trade Mbach for Hodgman, well, right now you take Hodgman. As good as Mike is, he doesn't offer all the things that Haji offers. And can do. And Haji has the ability, he's got the capability of making everybody around him better. That's going to be his major goal, I think. And he's done that before. He's, you know, when he was here the first 3 times, he didn't have to worry about that because Colin was his center and Colin was taking care of that, okay? Well, now this is kind of like, you're a veteran, Haji. That's part of the role of being a veteran, too, you know, is you got to help make everybody better. And he definitely has the capability of doing that.
That is a scary thought for Komets opponents.
They're already leading the league in scoring, and now you're going to throw a guy who's played in the NHL on your offense.
And one of the reasons they lead in scoring is the depth that they have offensively. So to add a player like that in, pretty darn deadly if you're a Komets
Now,
opponent.
it might take him a week or two to get into game shape and
sure.
to get his timing and get his hands and going and stuff like that. But he has been working pretty hard. In
Shoulder is good, though, is what
supposedly,
he said.
yeah.
All right.
I mean, with them on the road so much the last 2 weeks, there hasn't been as much chance to get to practice.
Oh, that's true.
So, I mean, he's been skating on his own mostly, too.
All right. Well, we shall see, hopefully sooner rather than later. But
it should be fun to see. I mean, it really should be.
I look forward to seeing how he's utilized because, like you said, man, you couldn't make a trade to get a guy with this type of physical presence.
Just get his resume.
Yeah,
I mean,
physical presence and the ability.
You know, that was the neatest thing about training camp is because his hip was sore, he couldn't skate all out. But he still had the best first 3 strides of anybody in camp, and it wasn't even close. It's like 3 strides, he's at the red line. You know, I mean, he's just that kind of talent.
We await the arrival, and we'll be talking about it when it does happen. For Blake, I'm Glenn. We'll see you next week on Inside the Zone.